All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at our example right here. We can see that it says Philip is building a go-kart. The wheels he uses on the go-kart have a radius of 4 inches. What are the circumference and area of each wheel? So since we use rubies, we're going to read this twice. Now we're not going to use rubies the entire time here because we see that there are some steps, but we are going to read this twice so that we can underline important words and box any numbers we might have. So Philip is building a go-kart. The wheels he uses on the go-kart have a radius of 4 inches. What are the circumference and the area of each wheel? So now I'm going to go ahead and look at these as options. So what does it tell me to do first? Well, it says, what is the formula for the circumference of a circle when the radius is given? Well, if I look over here, I do have this sheet that shows me that I have two different formulas, but one has pi times the diameter and the other one has 2 times pi times the radius. So I want to use the one that has the radius. Now, of course, when we're on the star, we're going to look at our handy dandy reference chart, and when we look here, we're going to see that we have circumference, and then under circumference, we look right over here and it says circumference equals 2 pi r. So let's go ahead and write that in. Circumference equals 2 times pi times r. Well, when we go ahead and look here, we're going to use 3.14 as pi. So we're going to write it over here in the top. So pi is equal to 3.14. Make sure that you are writing along with me. We're also going to substitute the length or the radius. The length of the radius, we're going to substitute the length of the radius into our formula. Well, we know that our radius is equal to 4 inches, so we're going to write r equals 4 inches. r equals 4 inches. So now we have circumference is about, that's what that little squiggly means, it's approximately 2 times 3.14 times 4. So I want to go ahead and do that on a clean sheet of paper so that I have space. So I'm going to go ahead and give myself a little bit more space. You can do the same. So 2 times 3.14 times 4. Well, I do like to use the lattice method, so I'm going to do my first part first. 3 times, or let's say that 3 and 14 hundredths is going to be multiplied by 2. Using my order of operations, I'm going to do this first. And I'm going to use the lattice method. So I create columns for both my ones place and my tens place. So 4 times 8, or 4 times 2 is 8, excuse me. 4 times, or 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 2 is 2. 3 times 2 is 6. There we go. 8, 2, and 6. We write the problem or the number all the way out, remembering that we have these decimals here, so that's going to now be 6 and 28 hundredths. But I also have to remember that I'm multiplying it by that 4. So now that 6 and 28 hundredths gets multiplied by 4. Well, again, using my multiplication chart, 4 times 8 is going to give me 32. Carry that 3. 4 times 2 is going to give me 8. Plus 3 gives me 11. Then I have 4 times 6 gives me 24. Plus that 1 is going to give me 25. And remembering that I have 2 places after my decimal, I'm going to move 1, 2. So my answer is in this case, my circumference is equal to 25 and 12 hundredths inches. So that means the area around the go-kart tire, the area around that wheel, this area is equal to 25 this length right here, let's not confuse ourselves, this length right here is going to be 25 and 12 hundredths. So we're going to look at one more part of this because it also wanted us to find the area. So let's look at the area. What is the formula for the area? Well, again, using my handy dandy chart, I'm going to look at area. Then I'm going to drop down to circle. And when I look over here to the side, it's hard to see, but I do have area is equal to pi r. There goes that radius again, pi times r cubed. So I'm going to again use the same thing. Pi equals 3.14. And I'm going to substitute the length of the radius. Well, I know the radius. The radius is 4. I already wrote that out. So now I'm going to write my problem as 3.14 hundredths times 4 square. Now here's going to be where we have a difference because now we're talking about an exponent. So that exponent means that I'm multiplying numbers by each other or by themselves. So I'm going to go ahead and write that out as 3.14. I'm going to multiply that by 4. That is being cubed. Area equals this. But I now have to remember that 3 and 14 hundredths is being multiplied not by 4 times 2. This exponent means that I'm multiplying this number by itself. So 4 times 4. Well, I do know with my multiplication chart that 4 times 4 is 16. So I'm going to rewrite this problem as 3 and 4/10 times 16. And finally, we're going to get it finished with looking at the lattice method. So 3, 1, 4, 16. So I'm going to make a row for each of my digits on this side. I'm going to make a column for each of my digits up here and split them into the ones and tens place. 4 times 1 is 4. 1 times 1 is 1. 3 times 1 is 3. 4 times 6, again using that multiplication chart, is 24. 1 times 6 is 6. 3 times 6 is 18. So we go ahead and add on the diagonal. So we have 4. 4 plus 6 gives me 10 plus 2 gives me 12. Carry that 1. 1 plus 1 gives me 2 plus 8 gives me 10. Put a 0 there and carry that 1. 1 plus 1 is 2 plus 3 is going to give me 5. So now when I look here, I see that my answer is 5024, moving that decimal over 2 places. And I know that my answer is 50 and 24 hundredths. 50 and 24 hundredths, but we are talking about inches squared. Inches squared. So finally, when I look at this, I found out that my circumference is about 25 and 12 hundredths inch, the area around it, or the length around it, and then the area inside of it, or how much space it's covering, is 24 or 50 and 24 inches cubed.